Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to the awakening journey. Today, I'd like to begin with a simple question. Have you ever wondered why certain people trigger you so deeply, while others don't seem to affect you at all? Carl Jung once said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. When I first read those words, I paused, because perhaps the people who trigger us most aren't our greatest enemies. Perhaps they are our greatest teachers. The way we judge others often mirrors the way we quietly judge ourselves. Every trigger becomes an invitation not to blame ourselves, but to know ourselves more deeply. Today, I'd like to talk about something many people misunderstand: the shadow. Every one of us has a shadow, not because we are broken, not because we are bad, but because somewhere along the journey of life, we learn that certain parts of ourselves weren't safe to express. Perhaps we learn that crying meant weakness, that making mistakes meant failure, that speaking our truth might lead to rejection. So little by little, we hit those parts of ourselves. Carl Jung called the identity we create to protect ourselves the persona. At first, it helps us survive, but over time, the same walls that protect us also prevent us from fully being ourselves. The darkness within us isn't a punishment, it's a teacher. It gently leads us toward deeper understanding, greater compassion, and more authentic life. Imagine carrying a backpack every day. Inside are all the fears, all the disappointments, unspoken grief, beliefs that you have carried for so long you have forgotten they are there. Shadow work isn't about adding more weight, it's about opening the backpack, looking inside, not with shame, but with curiosity. Because what we bring into the light no longer needs to stay hidden. One of the greatest shifts in my life happened when I stopped believing every thought that entered my mind. Instead of saying, I'm afraid, I learned to notice. Fear is visiting me. Instead of I am angry, I simply observe. Anger is arising. That small shift changed everything. I realized that I wasn't my emotion. I was the awareness gently witnessing them. Many of us think healing comes from controlling our emotions. Yet I have discovered the opposite. The feeling we suppress often gain more power. But the feeling we gently allow begin to soften. Healing begins the moment we become a compassionate witness to our own heart. For most of my life, I believe being strong meant never slowing down. One morning during my walk in nature, I accidentally tripped over a small rock and I landed hard on my left knee. It hurt. But almost immediately, I heard the familiar voice inside me. It's okay. Be strong. Keep walking. So I stood up, ignored the pain, and continued my morning routine. Days passed. The bruise faded, but whenever I stretched, I could still feel a quiet ache. One morning, instead of pushing through it, I simply became present. As I gently held my knee, something unexpected happened. It felt as though my knee was a little child, silently waiting for someone to notice her pain. Tears fill my eyes. I wrap both my hands around my knee and whisper, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I never stopped to listen. I'm sorry I thought being strong meant ignoring your pain. Thank you for carrying me every day. In that moment, I realized I wasn't only comforting my knee, I was comforting a younger part of myself, the part that believed love had to be earned through strength. Since that day, every time I stretch, I gently hug my knee, not because it still hurts, but because I've learned something beautiful. Healing begins when compassion replaces criticism. One day during prayer, I sensed God whispering something into my heart. Love the person you are today, the one who is still learning, still growing, still making mistakes, sometimes you're refusing to give up. Treat yourself the way you would care for a dear friend who is weary. Don't speak to yourself with words you would never speak to someone you love. Those words changed me because I realized God wasn't asking me to become perfect before receiving His love. He was inviting me to experience His love exactly where I was. Perhaps the shadow isn't where God abandoned us. Perhaps it's the very place where He has been patiently waiting for us to align with compassion. This week, I invite you to spend just 5 quiet minutes with yourself. Close your eyes. Notice one feeling that keeps returning. Instead of trying to fix it, simply ask, what are you trying to protect? Then quietly place your hand on your heart. Take a gentle breath. Remind yourself, I'm here. I'm listening you. You no longer have to carry this alone. Sometimes healing begins not with answer, but with presence. Before we part today, I'd like to leave you with one gentle question to carry you into your week. What part of me felt seen today? Sit with it, pray with it, walk with it. You don't have to answer it today. Simply let it accompany you. Because sometimes the question that stays with us transforms us more deeply than the answer we receive. May you meet yourself with curiosity instead of judgment, with compassion instead of criticism, and with the quiet confidence that nothing within you is beyond God's love. Until next time, live from within. Lead with purpose. Thank you.